you haven't heard the latest, going around as of today, apparently it's yet to be peer reviewed, but they just released a study saying that essentially what they think is that a planet roughly about 50 times the size of Jupiter, or a mass about 50 times the size of Jupiter, entered our solar system and basically mixed up all of the orbits and is screwing around with the planets. This is just getting ridiculous at this point. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's Nibiru? Is it Nibiru? Are they trying to, you know, trick us into thinking that this is some new revelation, that they didn't go over Planet 9 or Planet X, you know, what was it, a decade ago? They said they figured they found it and it had this elongated orbit that was going to come back around. It was massive. And now they're saying, oh, there's some sort of massive planet that just entered our solar system and is pulling around the planets, just mixing stuff up. Things are getting very weird very quick.
Hello my friends, this is Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And in today's video, as you can see by that beginning clip there, we're going to be talking about how Nibiru, Planet X, Planet 9, whatever you want to call it, has been confirmed. That's right, the mainstream media now is even telling you that there's a planet that's entered our solar system, alright? Now, of course, old Linol has been telling you guys about this for 15 years now, telling you that Nibiru was coming. And of course, the ancients have been telling us about that for thousands of years now, and we have lots of evidence that this is an event that has happened many times in our realm. We are in a realm that does these great matrix resets, as I like to call them, and this is just the next one that's happening, alright? So we're going to be looking at undeniable proof and evidence that this is indeed what is starting to happen, and we're also going to be looking at the safest places on Earth that you could be to survive this Nibiru reset and pole shift event. We're going to be looking at solutions for the individual. Okay, so make sure you guys watch to the very end of today's video to see that information. Alright, but first we're going to be looking at the evidence that it's happening. So I know it looks doomy and whatnot, but there is hope. Alright, my friends? So let's just get right into it. But before we do, just gonna encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button. As I say, subscribe to survive. And also be sure to hit that like button. My friends, my channel's being heavily shadow banned right now, and my videos aren't reaching any of my subscribers. So if you hit the like button, if you're watching this, it's got more of a chance to show up on your feed. So please do that. And also, if you'd like to help support this channel so I could continue making this content, consider buying me a coffee. Alright, I'm on the website Buy Me a Coffee, or you could just become a member of this channel. The links are down below in the description. And now let's just get right into it. Alright, so I just want to say before we get any further into this video, you know, a lot of people don't want to believe in this Nibiru stuff because they think, oh, the Earth is flat and this and that, and that there are no planets and whatnot. But I just want to make it clear, my friends, that we are within a matrix simulation. Alright, so for all those folks who are saying that, understand within this simulation, it gets reset all the time, and whatever's coming in, this Nibiru object, what I believe it is personally, I think it's a weapon that's being inserted within the matrix that resets this matrix on a regular basis. And it's going to look like a planetary object, but what I do believe it is it's an interdimensional, fourth dimensional object that comes in here and resets it. Alright, so obviously there might be disinformation about this kind of stuff being put out there by NASA or other space agencies. But still, they always tell you the truth too. So don't dismiss this. This is happening. This has happened many times. And this is the nature of our reality. Alright? So let's look at a video that shows the evidence that this may be approaching as we speak. And I think he's going to talk about the recent news, how it's been in the news and whatnot. So let's take a look.
There's been tons of pictures of apparently Nibiru and Planet 9, guys. I'm going to show you a lot of the pictures and a lot of the evidence suggesting that we do have a Planet 9. Even scientists are now saying that we have a Planet 9 that they've just discovered orbiting just past Pluto, and we've got many images and video footage of this thing going past the sun recently. Check this out. Planet 9, Nibiru, is real, guys. That is definitely two suns, or a sun and a planet. What? And here we have the scientists saying Planet 9 on the fringe of our solar system recently, they've discovered. Here's another image of something huge passing by the sun that completely perplexed NASA scientists. I think there's enough evidence so far, don't you think, guys? This is one of my favourites because this completely puzzled NASA scientists when this huge, massive, spherical object literally passed by their orbiting satellite of the sun. What is that? And then this is a really good image of the thing that seemed to be seen sucking energy from the sun. So these are potentially some of the X-bodies in our solar system that scientists are not 100% of there, but as I said recently, they do think we have found Planet 9 orbiting past Pluto. Nibiru is real. We have definitely got another planet in our solar system. Definitely, guys. And this is the potential orbit of Nibiru, potentially.
Alright, there you go. Alright, so pretty concerning, right, my friends? I think what we're seeing here is definitely this object is approaching whatever it is, this interdimensional object that we've been warned about for thousands of years by the ancients, and it's been documented. As I've said, it's here, it's happening. And of course, as this approaches, this is going to shake up our realm, all right, and change the temperature of our realm and the climate of our realm, and that's pretty much why they're telling you about this global, warming and whatnot, all that kind of stuff, all right, and changes with the weather and whatnot, all right. They just want to make you think that you're responsible for it, when really it is this event that's taking place. But at the end of the day, my friends, they don't want you to know because it's going to cause mass panic. So they figure if they make it seem like we're the problem and also make it seem so ridiculous with the things they're saying, more people won't even believe that's happening. Okay? Because they don't want people to know, and they want to clamp down and control people further. But it is indeed happening, all right? And there's lots of evidence to suggest that these poles are already shifting, and in the near future, you're going to start seeing huge changes within our realm. And this is the reason for everything that's going on right now. All the wars are distractions, and you're going to be seeing all this digital system rolling out, right? With carbon tracking, restricting what you could eat and whatnot. Well, the reason they're going to be doing that is because there isn't going to be much food to go around. You guys got to realize that, all right? And why? Because like I said, the temperature's changing. In the near future, we're going to be going into global cooling, okay? The Earth is going to be getting colder, a mini ice age. We're not going to be able to grow crops in many places. And in other places, we're having flooding. In other places, droughts. Like, the weather's going to go crazy, all right? So, less crops being grown, that's less food being out there, okay? So if that's happening, we got to go on food rations, and people can't eat as much as they want, okay? So that's why this digital system is being rolled out, so it could limit how much you're eating, because literally there's not going to be enough food going around, okay? So you guys got to realize why all this is happening and why this control system is being put into place, because in the coming years, things are going to get chaotic. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that these powers that be aren't going to abuse this system, okay, because they are, for power and control and to harvest our low frequency energy. But in some areas, you'll see it might be needed as well, because things are going to get chaotic. So let's look at evidence right now that the poles are shifting as we speak. And of course, it's related to this Nibiru event that's incoming. Okay, so let's look at that. But before we get to that, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors down at OWELI, my friends. I know this is stressful information, so ASHWAGANDA, great product. I think it's an Indian erudivic herb that's been used for thousands of years. It's been shown to help with stress, anxiety, as it lowers your cortisol levels. Okay, but not only that, it also is good for your serotonin system in your brain, your dopamine system, all right? It boosts testosterone in men, which men are losing their testosterone at insane rates, okay? I believe it's very good for women who might be going through menopause and stuff like that, all right? It's good for your hormone levels and everything. So, and it's also good for detoxification too. So it's good for many things. So if you want a literal chill pill, okay, it may take 4 weeks to start working, but if you want something natural, link is down below in the description, all right? And also check out OWELI's Calm supplement. This is a supplement especially for Calm. It has tons of great ingredients within it that will relieve your stress, calm you down, and they also have a great sleep supplement as well. All right, so OWELI has got you guys covered. Link is down below in the description, and use the coupon code that you see in the description for 15% off and free shipping in the United States. Now let's look at the evidence that these poles are indeed shifting. Take a look.
The magnetic North Pole is moving faster than ever before, and something just made it jerk the Earth. For centuries, the magnetic North Pole wandered slowly near Canada. But in recent decades, it's been racing, over 1,000 kilometers, now heading straight for Siberia. That alone is strange. But what happened next is even more alarming. On July 24th, Starlink's entire satellite internet system went down worldwide. No clear cause, no warning, just silence. SpaceX confirmed the outage, but didn't say why. Was it just a glitch, or the result of geomagnetic interference? Let's look at the data. On July 20th, a global measurement called UT1 Sigma, which tracks Earth's exact rotational timing, spiked to the highest value since 2018. This means Earth's rotation went off balance. The signal had been rising for 6 months. Then something jerked the planet's orientation. Even more disturbing? On July 4th, scientists recorded a sudden drift in Earth's right ascension. Basically, the stars shifted position in our sky. Earth's axis had moved. And what about the climate? NASA's Ceres satellite data shows that Earth's albedo, its mirror-like reflectivity, collapsed in just 4 months, from 0.72 down to 0.08. That's an 88.9% loss in our planet's ability to reflect solar energy. Now, we're absorbing it, all of it. That means rising heat, melting ice, jet stream collapse, and geodynamic pressure from below. Some say this is just climate change. Others believe we're entering CDIGR phase 5, a core displacement event tied to magnetic instability and planetary reorientation. There's even talk of something called the zero-key harmonic, linked to Venus's 40-58-day cycle. The timeline lines up exactly with the January 17th phase shift, when everything started accelerating. If Earth's magnetic field is unraveling, what happens next?
All right, so there you have it, my friends. This is all stuff that's happening in real time, all right? This pole shift is indeed happening, and it's building up, but at some point, the poles are going to shift completely, all right? And this whole realm is going to be mixed up. I've told you guys before, a pole shift isn't just with what's here on Earth, but also with the stars too. Because remember, it's a simulation. And like I said, the constellations, all of it's going to be switched up, and Saturn is coming back, is going to be our main sun again for the golden age, which is not a good thing. Okay, I've talked about that in this video, so make sure you guys see that video. I'll leave the link to that in the description as well. Okay, but with that being said, there's even bigger concerns too than this pole shifting itself, because it's bringing many other crazy things that are going to be happening, including volcanic activity. Okay, so I got another video yeah, to show you guys, and then after this video we're going to get into solutions. Okay, but I thought this one was important for you guys to see as well. Take a look.
He predicted there would be 3 different pole shifts. Each time the pole would shift 6 to 8 inches west. Now, each time the pole shifted, weather would become erratic, the glaciers would start to melt, and this would cause a large influx of water into California and into Japan. Not only
the magnetic poles are indeed drifting. But what does this actually mean? When I came across the Michael Scallion map, or these maps, for example, that were created by Edgar Casey, I started doing a little bit of digging. Turns out there's a classified CIA document, or a book that was classified by the CIA, known as the Adam and Eve story, which talks about the magnetic poles flipping. Now, the map that you just saw there was supposedly the consequences of what might happen if our magnetic fields weaken, the ice caps melt, the ocean level rises, and all this land disappears. But in my digging, I actually found something that no one has actually mentioned. And that is, why are the poles drifting so quickly right now? So is it really the poles that are moving that are causing catastrophic consequences? Or is it the reason why the poles are drifting that are causing catastrophic consequences? Well, right now it is on record that our magnetic North Pole is drifting towards Siberia. So where did I look? I looked towards Siberia, and guess what I found? Turns out, back in 1995, there was a record that our core, our planet's core, actually shifted location towards Siberia. Turns out, whether it's air temperature or soil temperatures, Siberia right now is currently breaking all previous records of warming. There are videos of people's wells boiling, or someone just out on a field of snow watching the entire field just melt before their eyes. Now, the proposal that's been presented by an international team of scientists, is that there is a massive plume of magma underneath Siberia. Could the core shift and this plume of magma be responsible for the poles shifting in that direction? So it turns out the pole shift is just a small consequence of what is happening beneath our feet. And this is a worldwide rise of magma to the surface. And this essentially means warmer oceans, ice caps melting. And if you guys take a look at Western Antarctica, you'll find that only the west coast of Antarctica is currently melting. And only the west coast has underwater volcanoes. I don't think that's a coincidence. And warmer ocean temperatures means increased atmospheric moisture, which means stronger hurricanes, stronger typhoons, which we are also seeing. And that actually means flash floods worldwide, which we are also seeing. So when we see a map like we saw in the beginning of this video, I don't find it too far-fetched, actually, that these sorts of events happen on our planet, especially considering how old our planet is. It's almost like these things come in cycles. Well, the ALLATRA International Public Movement says that this cycle is currently happening right now. And our generation and anyone alive today will be around to witness the consequences. So not only have they been warning, but they've also been providing massive solutions, like strategies on how to degas and depressurize magma plumes and volcanoes, how to take this massive amount of moisture out of the air using atmospheric water generators, and cleaning up our world's oceans of microplastics and nanoplastics, which would actually allow our ocean to do a better job cooling down this rise of magma from below. There's a lot to dig into, so I just recommend doing your research on ALLATRA. International public movements such as Creative Society as well has created international online forums translated in over 100 languages to explain this process as well. Go check them out, share them in the comments, share your opinions or your views in the comments, share this with other people, Because if they're right, which I think they are, we're going to be in for a doozy.
Alright, so there you guys go. So as you could see, this is all stuff that's all happening. I suggest you guys research for yourself, but it's happening. I'm sorry to break the news, but this is why all the craziness is going on in our world. Okay? So what are the solutions? That's what you're saying. I'm sure at this point you're like, holy crap, Lionel, you just dropped a lot of shit on us right now. And might be worried about your future, right? Because obviously there's going to be lots of destruction. Alright? But luckily we have some insights into where survival zones might be. And these insights come from Edgar Casey, okay, who was a psychic who drew a doomsday map way back in the day, and he had an extreme accuracy with all his predictions and stuff. All right, and I know you might be saying, "Oh, it's a psychic, so it's just hearsay or whatnot," and I understand that, but I got an interesting video to show you guys now that shows some interesting things when it comes to Bill Gates and this doomsday map. Okay. Take a look at this.
Okay, we were talking about maps earlier. Have you guys seen, it wasn't from Forbes, but they posted all about it, talked about it. It's called the Doomsday Map.
Oh, wow.
This is America. They do like the whole world, but this shot is of America.
How's Florida okay?
There's a lot of Florida that's gone, like a good 40% of Florida's gone. This lady on TikTok, her name is Peggy Bolton. She did some really fun research regarding the Doomsday Map. She compared that to the land that Bill Gates has been buying. He is the majority farmland owner in the United States right now. She took the map of the farmland that he owns and overlaid it onto this doomsday map. Every single dry land piece was occupied by his farmland. In California, so California is basically completely underwater.
Yeah.
But there's these little pockets of islands. See those?
Yeah.
That little one right there, that's one of his farmlands.
Yep.
No, but all these billionaires that are building bunkers and then buying up farmland, and she talked about how Jeff Bezos is also buying up farmland around the U.S. It's super creepy.
So we need to get a boat.
Yeah.
You need to build a boat.
There you guys go. Isn't that interesting? So where Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and all that, they're buying up all this farmland, and it's all in the exact same spots where this doomsday map was. So maybe there's something to it, right? And a lot of this information is just common sense. If poles were to shift and tsunamis were to happen, all this stuff, it's common sense. You want to be away from the coastlines, right? If you're right on the ocean, you're probably going to be screwed, okay? And many different scenarios that go into this situation. So I want to show you a little video, for example, what's going to happen to Europe. Okay, and it's going to explain it in a bit more detail, but that's going to be a scary place to be. Okay, take a look.
We are currently witnessing a new restart of the world. Mud floods and disasters taking place. Europe will undergo the most drastic earth changes. Northern Europe will collapse, leaving behind scattered islands. Most of the UK will submerge, few small islands remaining. Much of Ireland will vanish, sparing only highlands. A new sea will form, merging the Caspian, Black, Kara, and Baltic seas, reaching Siberia's Yenisei River and separating Europe from Russia. Its climate remains stable and becomes Europe's food source. Black and North Sea will merge, submerging Bulgaria and Romania. Western Turkey, Central Europe, France, and much of Italy will sink, while islands rise.
There you go. So that's just an example. Wherever you live in the world, you could kind of apply what's going to be happening there to where you live in your area, okay? But the cool thing is I found a website by this lady who claims to be a contactee of the Greys, and she's old school, goes back to the 1990s. She's been warning people about Nibiru, and apparently, according to her channelings that she's done with these Grey aliens, they've told her what's going to happen throughout the world. And she created a website that tells you, it has all the major cities, all the countries and states and provinces and whatnot you could click on each individual one, and she gives a good detailed explanation of what's going to happen, if it's going to be safe there. And regardless if her information is right with this gray stuff, or if she just did a lot of research, I'd say it's pretty accurate. Okay, so I'm going to leave a link to this ZETATALKS website down below in the description as well. I know, lots of links, but I'm going to leave that down below, and you'll be able to check and see if your city is on there and what advice she has for you. Because whether she's channeling or not, I think it's still very valid information, which a lot of effort and research probably went into this. Okay, so again, we don't know 100% sure if she's actually channeled or if she's going to be correct. Again, use your own intuition. Okay, don't none of this is advice on telling you guys where to go or not. I want to make that clear as well. This is just for entertainment purposes only, but it's for you to research for yourself and then make your own conclusions. I'm just presenting this information to you guys. All right, but the link is down below. That will go over that. Okay, but another thing we should talk about, all right, is that let's say you move to an area that's going to be a safe zone. Okay, just because it's going to be a safe zone and you're going to survive doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be safe. Now, there's going to be lots of survivors, millions of survivors worldwide, okay, who are going to flee the dangerous areas and who will survive this. But obviously after this reset event, the world's going to be a very dangerous place. Okay, very dangerous place. And there's not going to be much food going around, and it's going to be survival of the fittest at that point. So that's another thing you got to consider. Do I even want to survive this? You know, because if this happens, my fate might be even worse with the survivors attacking me if that happens. Now, if people come together as communities and work together and find a way, then it could end up good. But if they don't, it's like something out of Walking Dead or something like that, you know, or one of these movies, then it might be a little bit more spooky of a situation. So again, it's a situation that you're going to have to decide for yourself. Maybe some people say, you know what, I'm not going to move or anything, I'm just going to stay here, and if it happens, it happens, because it's not even worth my time trying to move, and then my fate will be even worse. Okay? But with that being said, we're not going to leave it on that note, because I do believe that many of us are going down a better timeline. Okay? There is a spiritual aspect to all this. All right? Because with this event, this Nibiru event, this reset event, okay, within this simulation, there are two different timelines playing out. And those are people who are on the lower timeline, who are at a lower frequency, who are connecting themselves to the AI and all this kind of stuff. All of them are going to be going down that path where they're ultimately going to be purified or cleansed off the face of the earth, and then they'll have to get reset into the new simulation, okay? But I believe the people who do the work and raise their frequency, they will be on another path. A path is laying out for them where they will be guided to a place where they need to be, where they will survive all these events, and they will go into a much better reality, a better timeline, okay? And maybe they will find that community and start having a really good experience post-reset. And for many of us, this timeline is already starting to unfold. Now, it's very interesting, okay, because I've been telling you guys about these opportunities that are presented to us right now as we go into this new financial system, because they are unveiling this new financial system, right? Everything's going digital, all right? And cash is going away. Whether we like it or not, that's what's happening. And this is a brief window of opportunity where many of us can become extremely wealthy if we invest properly. And once again, this is not financial advice. But when you look into the field of cryptocurrencies, whether it's Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Cardano, many different cryptos out there, but as we go into this new system and this resets, investing a small amount now can make you filthy rich in the very near future. Okay, and I've been telling you guys about that in many videos. So why am I telling you guys this? Okay, I'm telling you not so you could become filthy rich and fuel your ego and live a rock star lifestyle, but I believe this is the path that's being rolled out to chosen ones, starseeds, spiritual beings who are going down that positive timeline. They're getting an opportunity to make those smart investment choices. So yes, they could have millions coming in. Why? So they can relocate right now before shit hits the fan, and they could move, if need be, to where they need to be. And also, let's say you don't have to move, you're in a safe zone, but you need to start prepping. Maybe you need to buy a safer house in a safer area, get out of the cities, right? And have a more stable house away from the big cities where all the chaos is going to happen. Stock up with 10, 20, 30 years worth of food, right? Which costs a lot of money. Get all the stuff you need for prepping. And yes, if you need to move, then you'll have to move to a safe zone. Okay? But this will give you the opportunity to do that because you need money within this simulation. So that's the situation for me. Now, luckily for me, here in Canada, I'm in Alberta, and Alberta is a safe zone. Okay? Alberta will be one of the most safest places. Same with Saskatchewan, Manitoba, all that stuff, because we're in the flatlands, right? We're far away from the ocean, okay? 2,000 feet above sea level. I believe on the website it said, you know, there will be some earthquakes still and really strong winds that might be able to blow the roof off your house. So if you have a nice secure house in a good location that could protect against that, and again, away from the big cities, all right? But if you have a safe spot, let's just say Alberta is going to be a safer place than many other places in the world, okay? And a lot of survivors will be going there. And after the pole shift, it's really cold in the winter here, but it's going to be near the equator and it's going to become hot. That's crazy too, so it'll be a good spot for growing food. Okay, so for me, you know, that's all great that I've been strategically placed in this location. Many of us starseeds have been strategically placed to where we need to be as well. Okay, but old Lionel might not be living in Canada that much longer because I might be moving to Germany. Okay, in the near future. And of course, my location in Germany is Berlin. And yeah, if I end up moving there, I got to get the hell out of Berlin. Okay, and I would need these funds to do so. Why is that? Because Berlin is only 100 feet above sea level. And according to my research and looking it up and just common sense, well, guess what? It's going to be flooded. It's going to be underwater for an amount of time. And maybe permanently, you know, and mud floods, mudslides, all this stuff would happen to Berlin. So if I stayed there, I'd be kaput, all right? So if I do move to Berlin, I really need these millions to come in, which I do believe they will. Okay, it hasn't yet. Trust me, Lionel isn't there yet. But if this investments go right, all right, this would be an example of being divinely guided, because then that would allow old Lionel the opportunity to move to a safer place, like in the Bavaria area, like Munich or something, which is 1,700 feet above sea level, and that would be a safe zone. So that is just an example. Okay, that is just an example of if you're in a situation and you feel like you need to get the hell out of your area because it's going to be underwater, how you have time right now to find a way to have enough funds to move. And if you have the funds already, well, again, not advice, not life advice. You do your own research, but it might be time to start thinking about that, because I don't know how much time we have left, my friends. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? I hear a lot of stuff about 2040s, 2045, but still, will you have that time to leave and move? Because the years are going to get crazier and crazier. Maybe you'll be in a 15-minute city at some point, you know, and they won't let you move. So time is of the essence. All right, my friends. So it's something to start thinking about. All right. So for me, you know, I'm just going to see what the universe has in store. Maybe I'll end up in Canada, staying here, okay? Or maybe I'll end up there. But wherever I'll be, I know for myself, since I've been putting in the work, raising the frequency, I have no worries that my fate is going to be bad. I know I'm going to be where I need to be, and the path is being laid out for me to go down that better timeline. And ultimately that leads to ascension. Okay? But until then, you know, you got to stay within the matrix and stay safe. And it's a form of divine protection when you step into your higher frequencies. Alright? And you have a true awakening experience. So this is what we need to do to be safe. And I truly believe that. It's all about your frequency and going down that better timeline. And then the simulation, your higher self, maybe your star family or spiritual guides, whatever, they will lay out a path for you, which you will be okay and make it. But for everybody else, those who are asleep, those who could not awaken, those who could not raise their frequency, unfortunately, they're going to get cleansed, literally, off the face of the earth, or they'll survive, but they'll have to go through whatever chaos and crap happens post-reset, which there'll be a lot of suffering then too. Okay? It's going to be a long time before things are okay again. So that's my take on it. Take what resonates, discard the rest, you know. Follow your own heart, your own intuition on what you choose to believe and what you choose to do in these times. Do your own research. But this is what old Linol is going to be doing. And, you know, I think the most important thing is don't be in that state of fear. All right? And that's about it for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you subscribe by this time. And hit the like button, of course. And like I said, if you do choose to help support this channel, as, you know, this channel is kind of, you know, going downhill these days due to the censorship, shadow banning, and all that. But I'm going to try and continue to make content for as long as I can, of course. But, of course, any support does help out. So I am on Buy Me a Coffee once again. That's right. You can buy me coffee, or I think it's buy me an ice cream. I changed it to. And as a thank you, I always like to give back, and I would send you guys some free Patreon videos to your email as a thank you. All right. And so that's about it for today's video. All the links down below in the description for everything I spoke about in today's video. So check it out. And that's it. Good luck, guys. And I hope everybody who puts in that work will be okay and make it. And even those who don't, I wish the best for everybody, because it's just a horrible situation we found ourselves in, being stuck within this hell realm that resets itself all the time, and the levels of indoctrination and brainwashing stuff to keep us at the lower frequencies. Everyone here is pretty much a victim of this horrible system. So I do wish the best for everybody to, you know, exit this matrix and find that enlightenment. So we'll just have to hope for the best, but all we can control right now is ourselves and what we're doing. So for all you who are putting in the work, good on you, and let's just observe and see what happens. And that's about it for today's video, alright? Till next time, Linol, signing off. Love you guys.